Let's turn now to Donald Jensen. He's the Director for Russia and Europe at the U.S. Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. Sir, it's a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Firstly, can you give us your take on what it would take for NATO member Türkiye to back Sweden and Finland's bids to join the alliance?
Well, I think they will at the end of the day. And I think it's going to take, as your previous colleague said, it's going to take perhaps some military understandings between Washington and Ankara, perhaps with Washington and Greece, first of all. Second, I think that Sweden in particular will likely make some concessions to the Turkish position. The issue of getting those two countries in NATO is so important. I think at the end of the day, both sides will compromise, and we will see those two countries in NATO.
What about Turkey's concerns about PKK terrorists being included somehow in Swedish politics, Finnish politics? Of course, these terror organizations have been recognized as terror organizations by both the US and NATO as well.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody understands Turkey's concerns, even when they don't agree with it. I think at the end of the day, as I said, this can be managed in a way that can confront Russian aggression, get the two countries in NATO, and still address some of Ankara's concerns. It's going to take some hard bargaining, and as you said, your president's comments were very, very tough. But he understands Turkey's strategic position. He understands the importance of getting Finland and Sweden in NATO, and in the process, he may get some concessions from Finland and Sweden, particularly Sweden, to get what he wants. And I think that's what we're going to see.
It may take hard bargaining, indeed, as you said. Meanwhile, EU foreign ministers on Monday failed to pressure Hungary to lift its veto of a proposed oil embargo on Russia, instead agreeing to provide an additional 500 million euros for arms purchases in support of Kiev. What do you think needs to happen for consensus on this oil embargo on Russian crude?
Well, I hate to turn your question around, but let's look at it in another way. How long could we reasonably expect consensus in NATO and in the European Union behind our robust policy of assisting Ukraine? Hungary has been a problem, as we know. The Hungarian leader is very close to Putin, and I think there will be some cutouts made to accommodate Hungary's concerns, because at the end of the day, the Hungarians also oppose the aggression in Ukraine, and as we saw, there's a new president in Hungary, and she said the same thing over the weekend. So I think we need some strategic patience here, because everybody understands where the West's interests are, and those are shared by Scandinavia, those are shared by Turkey, and they are shared by Hungary. But I would expect in the coming months to have more open disagreements among the Western members as the war carries on, as each has to deal with energy, electricity shortages. So this is going to take more diplomacy than it has in the immediate aftermath of the war, where people were so shocked, so outraged by what happened, they put some of those differences in their back pocket. I think we're going to see much more discussion about those in the coming weeks, even as I expect NATO and the EU will continue their robust support for Ukraine.
All right, we really appreciate the perspective there, Donald Jensen. At the U.S.
Thank
Institute
you.
of Peace, thank you once more.